Good evening, wool gatherers, and welcome to episode 168 of Wanderings and Wool Gathering. On tonight's episode, we're going to be reviewing the latest from KMFDM. We're going to look at our favorite songs that open records. Intros count as songs, so that really tripped me up on this one, but and a couple other people who picked them. So just strictly songs that open records, our favorite ones. We're going to share those with you tonight. And I will have a little stump challenge, Lester Bang style. So if you like what you see and hear tonight, please subscribe, tell your friends, leave a comment, show us some love. Special thanks goes out to our sponsor, the Kokomo Lantern. You can get all of that local news goodness at kokomolantern.substack.com. Sadly, tonight, we will not have Metalhead Mundy. He's got some things popped up, needs to take care of. But in his place, I think you will be pleased because we have none other than JPP.
Easy listening sounds for the hard of hearing. It's JPP.
And a face for radio to boot.
Lurking in the dark.
That's right. Greetings.
We're doubling up on him in that category. So.
That's right. Yeah, he had something pop up. JPP, Jeremy Pimple popping. Let me tell you. No, sorry, couldn't be here. Bummer, but we will forge ahead.
Yes, I'm just pleased that you were able to come on tonight. So the show goes on as planned.
Right on.
Which I always try to keep the show rolling on our usual time so that everybody knows when to check in.
Yeah. Hey, while we're at it, before we get really started, did you watch yesterday's Superb Owl event?
Yes, I did.
Did you? No, I did not. I don't really sports all that much, but got some groceries in. Usually it's really nice and dead at the grocery store, so go have my pick of the grub. It was a lovely.
It was a chance to eat a lot of food and wait for the Deadpool trailer.
Oh, now that I did see. That was great.
Yeah, I wish they would have played the whole thing on there at the one time. They must not have wanted to pay for the full 2.5 minutes of Super Bowl time.
Right.
But yes, great trailer. I cannot wait for that movie. Who knows what in the heck is going to happen?
No doubt. Because of course Deadpool is definitely not for the faint of heart. And the one little one-liner, he's like, I don't have a problem with it, but Disney might.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're pulling some of that Loki business in there, which was kind of interesting with the time variance and everything.
Right. Yep.
So
speaking of Loki, we have a new pup named Loki, the dog of mischief. And the name fits. Let me tell you, he is definitely full of, pea and vinegar in the grand scheme of things.
Is that a French bulldog?
It is. Yep. So we have two Frenchies now. So
yeah, those are cool.
Heck yeah. He's fun. Well, hopefully he won't poof and move over to another multiverse and then come back and wreak havoc and all that stuff. But so far, so good.
He'll just continue to wreak havoc.
Indeed. Within the household.
All right. Well, see, you come on tonight and everything's supposed to be nice for you, but no, Mr. Mundy's not here to pick up the slack. So you're going to have to be stumped or get it on your own. Do you think you can do it tonight?
Hey, these days anything is possible. Life's a gamble. I'm all in.
Okay, so tonight the review is over a record, and your job is to tell me the name of the record that this review is talking about. I will pull out all of the pertinent details, and leave all of the fleshy goodness in there for you. I think you're going to get it. I think it's in your wheelhouse. Let's find out. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. This particular record may have revitalized heavy metal's underground, but their second record was even more stunning, exhibiting staggering musical growth and boldly charting new directions that would affect heavy metal for years to come. Incredibly ambitious for a sophomore effort, this record found this group aggressively expanding their compositional technique and range of expression. Every track tries something new, and every musical experiment succeeds mightily. Do you have a guess yet?
Well, there's a couple of groups that kind of come to mind, but I don't know how deep in the eras we're talking here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of thinking Incubus Science.
Incorrect.
I figured as much, but it was a bold. Technically it was kind of a debut effort, but it was definitely a bold.
So you're looking for the second record, though.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
I think they had another record out before that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? That's where I'm coming from. But yeah. See that it's not them. It's not. It's
I'll
heavy.
try this additional line on you.
Yeah,
Ready?
go ahead. Yeah, it's more heavy metal than the new metal stuff. So
This is very heavy. The lyrics push into new territory as well. More personal, more socially conscious, less metal posturing. But the true heart of this record lies in its rich musical imagination. It's a fast record, I'll tell you that.
it's a fast record.
Playing be fast. Whole new direction for heavy metal.
Whole new direction.
It's old.
Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking maybe somebody from the Big Four era.
You were a bit a wee lad when this one came out. No, this was. I'm trying to think what year this was. Early 80s.
Okay.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of these songs live.
Yeah, I probably have. Is it a Metallica?
It could be.
Okay, is this Ride the Lightning we're talking?
It is, yeah.
What's funny is my gut was going there, but I thought surely he's not throwing me a softball here.
Well, the reason I went with it is nothing in there outside of knowing it's the second record, it's early in metal and those kind of things really gives it away, because that could have, being ambitious and aggressive, could have been about a number of different records. So
sure, yeah.
Vague.
Yeah, exactly. Because at that time, I mean, a lot of things were fresh and new in that genre. You know what I mean? So we could have been talking about Judas Priest in some aspects, or even, some of Sabbath's offerings as well. I mean, I know they didn't go necessarily as personal, but in terms of like some of the first bits of it could have been pretty interesting to uncover for their second offering too.
Yes.
So, all right, I guess I hit a foul ball, but then, I got to walk at the end.
Yeah, in golf terms, you got a mulligan, so you're all good.
Yes. Indeed,
Good stuff. All good. All right. So that brings us to our challenge for the week, which I was excited about because every time we review a record, we talked about the opening track. Is it a good album opener? Does it set the tone? All that kind of stuff. So we're going to look at our favorites, and I'm going to tell you there is such a wide variety of first songs that people have chosen, that we've all chosen. We didn't match up on any, all three of us.
That's great.
So 15 different songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got here on the screen, I'm going to share some of the ones that were posted on Facebook. Heat Above. This one actually came in twice from two different people by Greta Van Fleet.
Cool.
Destination Home by Scrim. I did try to listen to this and it didn't hit me in the right spots. But good effort. I'll take it.
I'll check it out.
Let's see here. And then the next one, Run DMC, Peter Piper. That's a classic.
Heck yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I was trying to find some of the hip hop realm and I was drawing blanks, but there are so many good tracks in the 80s era hip hop that would be great bangers for the start of it. Yeah.
I came up with a couple on my own. And there are a couple in here, but it's just funny as I start looking at these. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that one. How did I miss that? Right? So, okay. So we have the House Martins, Happy Hour, Korn, Blind, great track. Prince, Let's Go Crazy. That's on a couple of times.
Nice.
Evanescence, Going Under. Glenn Campbell, Gentle on My Mind, classic. Ryman and Steelin, Beastie Boys.
Oh yeah.
In 1 week from Bare Naked Ladies. So that one got kind of trapped. It's the top one in there, but I just opened it up over here. And then we had Them Bones off of Dirt, which is a great song.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even think about that one. And I love Alice in Chains.
Yeah, and if you weren't expecting it, I mean, there's a TikToker that used it, but it's like that. Definitely jars you out of your seat.
I love it when people on TikTok or Instagram or whatever use sounds like that in a whole new way and it just catches you. They're so creative.
Definitely.
We've got Funkadelic, Maggot Brain.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, back over here. Next one. Where are we at? Sure Shot, Beastie Boys. You could possibly see this one again. Not saying you will, but you could. The Reflex. I forgot all about that one when they redid that, remastered the Reflex. That was a banger when I was a kid, 6th grade, I believe.
Wow. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Public Enemy, Lost at Birth, off of Apocalypse 91. That is a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Prince. Oh, here's the second time. Let's Go Crazy. That seems to be a popular one. And the Rolling Stones made the list with Start Me Up. That's a classic.
Definitely a good mood setter.
Okay, I've seen yours. You didn't pick any of these either.
Mm-mm.
We got Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Sweet.
Which I love, SRV. That's one of those ones where I'm so glad that I got to see him before he passed.
Lucky.
I would feel, yeah, I do feel very fortunate. That would be one of those ones that I would be like, gosh, I wish I had only.
Mm-hmm. Rise Above by Black Flag. That was a good nod. I missed that. I thought about Welcome to the Jungle because that definitely is a great opener.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think about that one either. Yes, I'm trying to find that one over here so I can read it because it's so small on my screen. But yeah, Mike Shane went to town. He has 2 different. That's his first one.
Oh goodness!
Right, with Black Sabbath, which is Will Appear Again. Tom Sawyer. We got Johnny Cash. Yeah, as you said, Black Flag, and then he's got Crucify from Tori Amos, Bloodletting, Concrete Blonde. Here Come the Vultures.
Nice.
I mean, it's just like he went in. I said I'm going to give him his own segment on our show.
There you go. And I'm gonna add to his Blitzkrieg Bop. That's a great album opener, and it's also a great level 1 opener on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. When you start level 1, and that's the first song that plays, it definitely sets the tone for getting your half pipe on.
Nice. I did not know that. I've never played that game.
Oh, I played it too much in college.
I'm pretty lame. I don't play any games, so.
That's all right. It gives you more things to do, like listen to music and run a podcast.
Yeah, something like that. All right. So then we've got Gimme Shelter, Let It Bleed, which is awesome. Yep. More Than a Feeling. Great song from Boston.
Yep.
One Step Beyond. Oh, The One Thing from NXS. See, there's another one.
Nice.
Modern Love from Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
Panic from the Smiths, because we need a little sadness in our lives.
Indeed. We were actually teaching my daughter how to listen to The Cure yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Just look to the side, look mopey.
Oh, The Cure. It's tough to beat them. Helter Skelter off of Rattle and Hum. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And Shout, Tears for Fears.
Oh, yeah.
This one was kind of out of left field for me for Pearl Jam. This wouldn't have been the one that jumped into my mind, but Can't Keep off of Riot Act. Interesting choice. And coincidentally, tonight at midnight, I believe, is an announcement on their next record.
Oh, nice.
Has sneakily been leaked somewhere.
Uh-oh.
And we're going to find out our makeup day on the concert we had tickets for that we missed last year. So
yeah, I know you guys have been anxiously awaiting that. Much deserved.
Mm-hmm. And Prison Song, System of a Down, from our good friend Kevin Rader Rodenbaugh.
Nice.
From Jack the Radio. Good dude. And I think our final, I don't know if I've got a slide for it. I got to check it out and see. Yep. Jackie Dillman Irick went with Red Hot Chili Peppers, Around the World from Californication.
Cool. So, you know, that actually is a really good track. I wasn't a big fan of that album when it came out, but I will definitely give a nod. That's definitely a solid opener.
I don't love Chili Peppers, but sometimes they hit a sweet spot because they do have pretty good groove. And they have good bass. Lyrics are delivered well, depending if I love them or not. Doesn't matter. So.
If you let Chad Smith and Flea, if you let them let it rip, it's incredible. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And then we were talking about last week we did Nothing Shocking, and Flea plays the horns on Idiot's Rule.
Oh, no kidding. I knew he played trumpet.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is wild. That's awesome. Just an all-around musical dude.
He is. And they have their own little school for kids.
Yes, that's
music
right.
And everything out there, which is so awesome.
Yeah, I watched his Hot Ones where he was eating spicier and spicier things and talking about that. And it was a good trip.
We're doing that on this show, Paul.
Hey, you know we should. I am a hot sauce junkie, so.
Are you serious? See, I keep bringing it up, and everybody's like, "No, I can't do it. I can't eat anything hot." We have to do it on the show.
Heck yeah. I mean, I do have a threshold. I am not going to act like I'm the toughest guy on the planet, but I definitely like trying new things. And if it hurts, okay, so be it. I'll get through it and then, dial it down a bit, but I'm not afraid to try some hot sauces.
We need to bring us all into the studio, same one, and do it together. And then the other one, and just say you'll do it, Paul, right now, and then I'll ask you.
I'll do it.
Surströmming.
What is it?
Surströmming.
What's that?
Look it up.
Oh, no.
Canned fermented fish. Oh, no. Uh-oh. I have lost JPP. Apparently the thought of surströmming has sent him running.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's like, oh, great. What did I sign up for? No, I lagged and fell off the thing here. I don't even know how to spell that. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, when you open the can, it fizzes.
I have seen this. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do the hot sauce challenge first, and they'll do that.
Yeah.
So, and I did the durian fruit, which is the stinkiest fruit in the world, which is kind of like a creamy, oniony fruit thing, and it wasn't terrible. So, I'm guessing surströmming will be much worse.
Nice, noted. Well, if people can survive me after sliders, it can't be that bad.
Okay, so maybe we'll do it in our own homes.
Sounds good.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, we're going to do a challenge, and we're going to have a number of hot sauces, and it would be one question for each sauce.
Perfect.
It is on. Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Well, the job tonight was to come up with our album openers, just as we saw from our friends on Facebook. And now it's our choices, our top 5. We are going to start with number 5 and work our way down. And Mr. Mundy is not here, but I did put his up so that you can see what he has chosen. His number 5 is Prong Turnover. And this was a little before my time with Prong. I'm a more recent Prong fan. So it didn't hit me when it came out like it did you guys.
Yeah, this is one with Art Cruz on it, if I'm not mistaken. And you're seeing it live, definitely. And then popping the CD on the way home way too late at night. It definitely kept me awake on the ride home. So that was a good adrenaline rush to get started on my journey back. Over an hour back to the household. So I can agree with that, saying it's a good banger to kick off with.
If you're wondering, Paul, I'm having a little Wanderings and Wool Gathering tea.
Oh, nice.
So, and you can buy those. I'll make one for you for $100.
Oh, hey.
Any fan wants one?
Steal it twice the price.
Okay, so my choice was Public Enemy, Greatest Misses, and its tie goes to the Runner. It's a great groovy little song. And that was in that sweet spot with Public Enemy. They had their first 5 records were just all absolutely killer.
Yeah. And that was definitely back when they had a lot more free reign to experiment with samples and breaks and stuff. So there was a lot of edge. That's the word I'm looking for with the samples. And they just had a nice, tight, concise sound. They're is it Terminator X was the DJ? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. He just always had some good ideas melded together. So I'm all in on that one.
All right. What'd you have?
I had, what did I have? I'm kidding. I had Black Dog from Led Zeppelin 4. And it's certainly a interesting opener, to say the least, because it has, kind of an unconventional groove and kind of starts off with a little synth sound that's vintage, and then hey hey mama, and the rest is history. And of course that album came out way before my time, but I remember when that was one of my Columbia House acquisitions in my 12 CDs for $1 or a penny or whatever it was back then.
Oh yeah.
And really kind of being blown away right out the gate. When I was taking guitar lessons, I was learning Stairway to Heaven, obligatory song at the time. And this hadn't heard this yet. And so that was one that kind of gave me a really good impression of Zeppelin right out the gate.
Yeah. So in your mind, is there a band that has more amazing riffs, memorable riffs?
Oh, than Zeppelin?
Yeah.
Oh, it depending upon the genre, absolutely. But I think they definitely had a groove, they had a sound, and they definitely experimented a lot. And that's kind of why they remained at the forefront, I think. And you can't go wrong with Robert Plant's range. Couldn't go wrong with Bonham's boomy drums. John Paul. I mean, I know I'm kind of fanboying all over him, but they definitely were a nice, tight unit for that generation. And we're lucky that they were all together at the same time to be able to create that.
Yep. And they made lots of references to Lord of the Rings. So
yep,
they were nerds as well. That's awesome.
Kudos for that.
Indeed. All right. Our number 4 choices. Oh, look what Mundy picked. KMFDM, which we're doing tonight. So how do you pronounce? Is it Howruck?
Howruck, yep.
Howruck. Okay. Yeah. And the song is Free Your Hate.
Yes, I remember that one. Mm-hmm. Good one.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why he chose it, but I'm sure it's a banger. My choice at number 4 was the Beastie Boys' Sure Shot off of Ill Communication. It's a great starter.
Absolutely. And some good bass and all that good stuff in there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of variety on that one. They were the kings of sampling.
Mm-hmm.
And oddly enough, they got, back then there was a lot of fighting over it. Like, it's not real music if you're taking it, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't steal this and that. And they got it pretty cheaply, actually. And they actually got most of it approved when they did their records. So
yeah,
it's kind of a feat back then.
Yeah. And Paul's Boutique was definitely a lot more of an undertaking with samples. And they actually had musicians in the studio, Money Mark and several others that kind of gave them the nice raw sound to go on top of, what they were doing. So this was a nice kind of a switch up in their era and what they were doing. And I idolized what they were up to quite a bit back then and just dreamed of having a studio full of everything from organs to basses to bongos and just letting it rip. But alas, the kid could dream.
Yeah, a lot of Paul's Boutique, when they went out to L.A. to make it, was some of the riffs and songs were already made for other projects. And then they took them and sort of made them their own. So pretty neat.
Definitely. Yeah, Dust Brothers, I think, was their production crew at the time. So, man.
Yep.
And now I really regret sleeping on that album that first time when it first came out. I thought, man, this is not like License to Ill, but I was young. And then, came back.
But you weren't the only one. It tanked comparatively in terms of sales. But then as it went on, everybody realized, oh, my God, this thing's genius. This is the record, Yep.
With your bad breath onion rings.
Yeah, some of their lines.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
All right. You're number 4.
So I was trying to create a rule where, it wasn't a single that I had seen and that wasn't well known from a group. But this one kind of broke that rule for me. It's Head Like a Hole from Nine Inch Nails. But how can you not? I mean, it's just, right out the gate for Trent Reznor. This was his debut across the country as this industrial angry undertaking, and we really didn't know him as we do now, and he just really set the tone for the whole album from there. And looking back compared to some of the many of his other works and stuff too, it's definitely a starting point for him, and you've seen him evolve and grow and his sound get more huge, and he really takes advantage of that pop formula from this album forward. That's always been the case, but it works. And it's really interesting how minimal some of the sounds were on the rest of the album, but this song here really just came out hot, and you enjoyed the ride from this point forward.
Yeah, I look at this was a game changer record in terms of that style of music, and it launched obviously a huge career, now a movie career, and not much he can't do electronically.
Totally. Great
and record.
He's had several collaborators through the years, and he always has his signature mark on no matter whatever it is, no matter what he does. But you do see elements of evolution along the way too, and so still a hero to this day.
Yep, he is a genius. I'd like to see him make more music and get out of making tracks or making the music
like
for movies. Like I will say I loved recently he did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that movie, and that fantastic score for that one, and the soundtrack was great. So
yeah,
I did like that, but I'd like to see him make his own music again.
Yeah, my daughter and I watched about half of it about a week or two back. I need to finish it, but I loved the music and visuals alike from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, the art was very original.
Yeah, and it's a cool take on the Turtles as well. Definitely a little more teenage and nerdy in some ways. So and awkward. Love it.
Super fun movie.
Oh yeah.
All right. Up next for Monday was Slayer War Ensemble.
Yeah. I slept on. What I'm saying is I didn't think of that one for this, and I couldn't agree more. That's a great one.
Mm-hmm. There's too many to think of every one of these.
Yeah.
Think about all the albums we love. They all have first songs. So,
right. Exactly.
Tell your daughter it's time to get sad, because I picked The Cure for mine Plain Song.
Oh yes.
Which isn't necessarily the best song on the record, but what an opener that really, because that record was so different. And it was another one that was not well received at the time, and people came to love that later. But that going into, Pictures of You and all that love song, I mean, it just really set the tone for a record. So that's like the epitome of an opening track, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And it's almost colorful, for lack of a better way to say it, because it kind of really paints the sonic picture before you get into the rest of it. And that was another one of my Columbia House buys. And
Me too.
I actually went through probably 2 or 3 copies of that CD. I wore them out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was, we were getting CDs at that point. So
Yep.
my game was I would get Columbia House, get the new ones, and then I would just let them send them to me, and I would hit return to sender and keep doing it until they got pissed and wouldn't send me anymore. And then I would go to BMG and do the same thing. And so you got all these free records, essentially.
Heck yeah.
And then you move because you're in college and you're moving all over the place, and then you just get new, new subscriptions and do it again.
I wonder why they went out of business. I'll never understand.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Right. Most certainly. All right. I guess it's my turn. This album was another game changer in the 90s. And I went with Bomb Track from Rage Against the Machine. And what was really interesting to me is the fact that the guitar was clean. It wasn't heavy right out the gate. And you're getting this little pentatonic. And it's like, man, that's busy, but it sounds cool. The bass is following along. And then the riff kicks in. Zach starts, uttering his words, and holy cow, it was the Maxell effect all the way. And the rest of the ride, we all know Rage Against the Machine's impact on society at the time. And wish I could have seen, actually I did see them live. I wish I would have seen them earlier live. This was with Wu-Tang Clan right before they broke up, actually. So they, kind of felt like they were just going through the motion at the time, sadly. But man, what a band.
Well, and that, Morello at that time, the way he played guitar was so different and so nice that they just stood out from everybody, the way that they sounded. And they had a point. I love that, everybody always like, keep your politics out of everything. There's a way to do it in a way that's obnoxious. This is the way to do it. You were going to blast it. They mean it. They live it. It was fantastic.
Yep. Absolutely. Good stuff.
All right. That was number 3, I believe.
Yes.
Now we're down to our top 2. And for Mr. Money, we had Megadeth, Punishment Due.
Yes. Man, I will never forget the day I got that album. It was a good year because Persistence of Time from Anthrax came out, and then this came out. I can't remember which one was before the other, but it was around like a week or 2 apart that I got these 2 CDs, and I was in heaven. And of course I had seen the video for this song before I got the CD, and man, I struggled to learn that riff, and I still struggle with it too, just because of the some of the picking complexities and whatnot. But I was so pleased with Marty Friedman's work on this album, and especially this song, because he has like the kind of exotic Middle Eastern solo in the middle before he goes into the second part and stuff. And I could go on for hours, but nonetheless, hell yeah, Mundy.
That is JPP approved for those of you playing at home. All right, my number 2. I really waffled on this one because, Gish had I Am One, and then Siamese Dream had Cherub Rock.
Yeah.
Either one of these could have been there. So I'm going to say that Cherub Rock would be my runner-up or one of my honorable mentions. And the only reason I switched between the 2 and went with the one from Gish is because for me, that was another sonic game changer. those the way that he uses his snare, it's like the high pitch, and you really hear it throughout all of these songs on Gish. It's more pronounced even than their other records, and it's so heavy. Nobody sang like Billy at the time, or probably still doesn't, but
Sure.
it was just kind of like a new package. It was a lot like Rage in that way, that nobody else sounded like them. And there weren't many bands that came out during that time that cruised through as successfully as they did that weren't grunge.
Right. Yeah.
Jane's is another one that kind of fits that mold. But grunge, I've talked to a friend of mine recently, just kind of killed everything.
Yeah.
Just that dominated the radio. And if you weren't grunge, you weren't getting airplay, and probably killed some careers. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's been definitely some bands in the hair era that would agree with you on that one. But
yeah, they disappeared pretty much.
Right. Yeah. In some ways it was a nice break, but looking back, it's like, man, I really miss some of those players, but they're still, it's good to see them back. I wanted to go see Living Color and, as you'll see on my selection here in a minute, and Extreme. They were in town last week, but didn't work out. But man, that would have been great to see.
Where were they? Where did they play?
They were at the Old National Center in the
okay. So, they were in the Egyptian room. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they'd been in the theater, but
yeah, standing room, and a couple friends went, said it was a great time and all that good stuff. So I've, not to get in the weeds, but I've been battling vertigo off and on, and it's one of those things where it's like I knew I probably shouldn't go, and I nailed it because I was actually feeling rough that night, and I probably wouldn't have been able to stand. So heck with that.
Sorry to hear that.
It's too much headbanging, man. I'm telling you.
Could be. Could whiplash.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a perfect segue into your choice.
Yes. So Living Color, Cult of Personality. This is definitely one that was a single. I kind of broke the rule again, but you can't go wrong. Vernon Reid is a hero in many ways to my guitar journey. I've never tried to emulate him, but I've always admired and appreciated his style. I take that back. I've definitely had played my guitar up a little higher here and there, and saw the merits of it. And it was just a matter of trying to find that comfy sweet spot. And I definitely tried the higher elevation for a bit and found that it was a little more ergonomic if I was a tad lower. But nonetheless, I'm digressing. This song is fantastic. Just a great opening riff, great groove, great drums, great lyrics. I really love the way they use samples in it, and the music video is cool, not to mention the way they break down at the end and it gets kind of double time and stuff too. So it's just a great song and a great way to get you into Living Color, and I've been a fan for life ever since I heard that song.
Now, did you follow and get all the other records when they came out, or listen to them?
Yes. I will say that, as I've gotten older, it was hard for me to keep up, but I definitely had I have the second album still. It's in my ride. As a matter of fact, I pop it in the CD player from time to time. There's some really cool tracks on it. And, forgive me, I'm not, my memory is lapsing on some of the other efforts, but it's really hard for me to hear something from them and be disappointed, to be honest with you. So Corey's got a great voice, and musicians are always just solid across the board. So no complaints.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I did not follow after that. I didn't even know they were still going, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So,
but I'm glad, because that initial stuff was pretty good.
Most certainly.
All right, drum roll, please. All right. Mr. Mundy has chosen Black Sabbath. And that was second time we've heard that one tonight. One of our listeners chose that one as well.
Excellent
Cannot
choice.
go wrong with that one.
No, sir.
That band had a little bit of talent. Sounded okay, if I remember correctly. Am I correct, Paul?
They're not too bad.
Not too shabby. A couple of those guys maybe made a career of it.
Yeah. They're not selling shoes down by the seashore.
No. One of them retires frequently and then returns frequently.
I'd love to do that. And this time I mean it.
Yeah, I saw him on his retirement tour before he did another tour.
Oh, no.
But I was so glad I did, because, I mean, he was still very fit and able to run around the stage and do his thing. He sounded great. So I was really thrilled that I did get to finally see Ozzy live. That was cool.
Nice. Yeah. I know that he's not been doing too hot as of late, and still rooting for him nonetheless. I hope nothing but the best.
He can still sing, which is crazy. You would think that as many health problems as he has, that he would lose it a little bit, but he hasn't seemed to.
Well, when it's in your soul, you got to get it out. And I can totally attest to that.
Yeah. Okay. It's no surprise what my number one is, but my number one is really 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 because I just put one on there, but really the answer was 2112 and then The Spirit of Radio and then Tom Sawyer and then Subdivisions. And that was, the three of those are my favorite 3 records in succession probably ever. And then Caravan from their very last record. It's a great album opener. So I kind of cheated. But you can't go wrong with that record and Tom Sawyer anyway. So
right. Yeah.
That was my number one.
Well, they've always done it right in that regard. So no complaints. Did I see some rumblings that they're wanting to get back into making music and or possibly tour again?
I think they definitely have the itch to make music. They cannot not do it. And Alex, he had a record recently and then they're working on a second one. Envy of None is that group. And that was a good little record. Getty was he had his big Book of Bass tour. And then he had his book and he was doing a tour talking about the book. And he just had his show on Bassist, which was awesome. If you haven't watched that yet, you should. It is really cool. And you just realize that Getty is one of the nicest people on the planet. And but they've talked. And in interviews, they've said they have not ruled out playing Rush songs. And they haven't ruled out getting back together and creating new music. But I think one way or the other, we are going to see those two again together.
And, it's hard not to do that. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think Alex would, I don't think Neil, I think Alex and Getty would want the others to carry on is what I was getting at. I'm sure Neil would want to still live their life. And that's a vital part of their legacy and who they are. So you just can't take that away.
And people online yell and say, it won't be the same. No, it won't be the same. And nobody said it would be the same.
Right.
But 2 surviving members who love to play and helped create that music should be able to play it if they want.
Yep. No regrets. You got to live your life. So I'm all. And
there are some amazing drummers who are fanboys who would love to step up and play with them. And it would be amazing. And they've already done it a couple of times.
Yeah.
So let's roll. Let's get Danny Carey out there for a whole tour.
Right.
Let's do it.
Exactly.
He would be my choice, probably.
Yeah. Well, considering it's going to be 2032 before we see another Tool record.
That's right. He's got time.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, goodness.
I'm all in on that one too. Cool.
Yeah. All right.
Well, my turn. This was the album opener of all album openers to me for the fact that, you got this fading in, harmonizing lead in reverse that I just couldn't wrap my head around in my early musical days. And I have since, played it in reverse in audio editors and heard, it's actually not that hard, but it just sounds so challenging the other way around. Of course, you can't play it in reverse, but it's just so beautiful the way they just said, hey, let's just flip that around and start off the track. And it's like, that's really cool. I rewound it and listened to that part a few times on many occasions. And, of course, when the riff comes in, and then comes in with the main riff after that, and it's just high octane right from the get. And man, you just can't go wrong with that. It was definitely, when I first heard this album, it was this and Peace Sells. Winston let me borrow both cassettes for the summer vacation. Both of them scared the crap out of me. I was terrified and delighted at the same time. Thus began my journey as a metalhead.
Nice. This was actually the first Metallica record that I purchased.
Really?
Yeah. I had heard the other ones, but I had never bought anything. So this was the first one I bought.
Nice. Yeah. I remember this was the first one I listened to. And then I went and bought Kill 'Em All. And I'm like, man, this is completely different. I didn't know what to expect as a kid, but fell in love with it and then got Ride the Lightning. And then I went to Hills with my mom, bought Master of Puppets, and I decorated a little tiny tree in my room while listening to Master of Puppets. And I thought, man, you can't get any more metal than this during the holidays. And, kind of went in a bizarre chronological order, but it was definitely a great ride. And it's so funny how that moment still sticks with me, listening to Master of Puppets decorating a little tree with bulbs and lights and all that stuff. I think I
That's
was
awesome.
in 7th grade or something at the time.
And you went to Hills.
Yes. Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Those were the days. I can smell the popcorn now.
Did Hills have popcorn too?
Oh yeah, they
I
had
know
that
Rural
big
King does.
Yeah, when you first walked in the opening doors, right there was that center with the little food court, and popcorn would just hit you right in the face, and it's like, I'm here for t-shirts, not snack, but give me some popcorn.
Well, sometimes I just go to Rural King for fun and eat popcorn while I shop.
Right, and get a duck, a chicken, rabbit.
Sometimes I do. Not yet, but I might. All right. So I just had I knew I really kept myself down because I just started going, okay, this one, and I got to a point I'm just like, okay, never mind. I'm going to stop because I could go on all night. But these are some that I feel like are really strong candidates. So these were my next 4 or 5 honorable mentions. My first one was Matthew Sweet, Sick of Myself. Off of 100% Fun.
Mm-hmm.
He's an underrated musician in my mind.
Yes.
Second one is Volbeat, The Devil's Bleeding Crown, off of Seal the Deal and Let's Boogie. I love that song. NF, The Search, off of The Search.
Oh, that's a good one,
song.
Yes.
And Immigrant Song from Zeppelin, off of Zeppelin 3.
Definitely a good one.
Those were my honorable mentions.
Nice. I kind of struggled because I was busy today as I was trying to come up with ideas. The first one that came to mind, because it would be more of a tie within like the 9 Inch Nails and stuff, was Thieves by Ministry off of The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste.
That's great.
Good old fast riff and great tune. Also, I can't remember the name of the band or the song. Let me look it up real quick while we're talking. The band Hum, their album "You Prefer an Astronaut." They had a single called "Stars." Their first song, "Little Dipper," was definitely a fun journey. It was a little more slow, kind of grindy, but definitely a really great track and really got me into the band as a whole, more than the single at the time. Just really, really enjoyed it. And they actually came out with an album not too terribly long ago, and I listened to it, and man, they're every bit as good as they were back in the 90s.
Yeah, I don't know that song. I know the band. I'm gonna have to go. What was the name of the song again?
This song was called, let me pull it back up again, Little Dipper.
Little Dipper.
They had a single called "Stars." It's like she's out back counting stars, and
yes, that's the one I know.
Yeah, it had the zebra on the album cover.
Yep,
definitely an unsung hero of the 90s for me.
Cool. I'm gonna pull that off of there.
Cool.
You're lurking in the shadows. We need you bigger.
Nice. That's what she said. Anyway.
All right.
Oh, excuse me.
Well,
just for the record, it's a
yeah, sure it was, Paul.
It was the microphone.
Well, that was a fun challenge. I don't know what our challenge is going to be next week. We will have to talk about that off air. I will post it again because I love getting everybody's comments on it and their choices for things.
Yeah.
Getting a lot of good songs that I hadn't thought about in a long time, or some that I haven't even heard of, so I can check them out.
Heck yeah. No, that's awesome. That was
love it.
Definitely fun. And, I said it when in the comments on last week's episode as I was lurking and eating my dinner that, sometimes back in the day of cassette and vinyl, as you mentioned, the B-sides were also some killer openers too, to kind of set the mood post intermission.
Agreed. Oh, we have a comment.
Uh-oh.
Do a challenge where you pick out the top. I'm going to put this on there. I'm pretty sure I know who the viewer who posted this might be. Do a challenge where you pick out the 5 best physical qualities of Josh Kiska.
I don't know who Josh Kiska is, but I'm going to wager
lead singer of Greta Van Fleet.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe like the outer 10% of the eyebrow right here, the way that hair kind of comes to a taper. That I'll give props on that. Maybe perhaps the 5 o'clock shadow when the mood so
his sweet stash.
Yeah, indeed. And I'll just go for raging metabolism, being able to eat and drink whatever you want and not gain a pound.
period, JPP. With hard eyes. Okay. Thanks for playing along. All right. We got one little last piece of business here.
Yes.
And it is the new record by KMFDM called Let Go. At first, I read it as Let's Go, but it is not Let's Go. It's Let Go, as the first song tells us. I don't go nearly as deep with KMFDM as you do, as Mundy does. So you might give us a little intro before we dig into this record.
Yeah, so KMFDM, I won't do this justice as well as Mundy would, because he would definitely delve deep into more of the history. There were lots of speculations on what the name meant. I think it's settled on Keiner macht für die Mitleid. I don't speak German, so please apologies in advance for butchering my German there. Please forgive me is what I'm getting to say there. But I think it means no pity for the majority. They were definitely an early namesake in the industrial era. I think they were involved with Wax Trax, if I'm not mistaken. They had some, some projects involved on Wax Trax, maybe even side projects like I think Excessive Force. They had some members of KMFDM in that. And Esh was a lasting member. I don't think he's in the group anymore, but Sasha Konietzko is definitely the formidable member of the group that has remained to this day. And he's definitely interesting. He's always the spoken word voice of the group. And he definitely has a consistent sound, very commanding in a lot of ways. And, with that said, this album kind of has a different feel, even with that commanding tone. And, just as a quick, kind of a quick glaze, I found it enjoyable. Their other works have always been intense, lots of kind of dance feel and groove to it. Great guitar work, and it's blended well, so it's not like a metal band where it's like the driving force. It's a piece of the rhythm as well, and always working with vocalists to create good hooks and choruses and things too. So the music is catchy while sometimes being intense, and just a good variety of feelings across the board. But at the end of the day, you're definitely getting a butt shaker in the mix somewhere.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Sasha and that commanding voice, but I think my favorite moments were when the female singer sings on this. I think those for me were the better songs.
Yeah,
and I think listening to this, and I've listened to a couple other records, and I think your description is spot on because it's very eclectic. It's all over the place. Where it loses me a little bit is when it borders too far on that dance club feel. I don't like that kind of music necessarily. So, like, for instance, the first song, Let Go, parts of that song I like. It's catchy. It's got a good driving force behind it. The lyrics are kind of fun. But then there are some parts where it really gets dance clubby, and that it kind of loses it for me. So I would say it's a decent album opener. It definitely sets the tone for what we're going to get, and it's upbeat. Tempo's good. Just a little too much of the club for me.
Sure. No, I can see that. And it kind of threw me for a loop just because of the fact that it feels more happy than what I'm used to with KMFDM. I mean, they do have some upbeat things going on, don't get me wrong, but this particularly had more of a positive vibe across the board. Still cool, but I'm with you on that too. It's like, at some point I feel like I'm going to be a wallflower, with a drink, kind of waiting for the next tune.
Yeah. The next song was called Push with an exclamation point. Had that strange intro, kept talking about, I promise I'm going away. I wasn't sure where the song was going because that whole verse is pretty repetitive and there's not much musically going on. And then when it kicks in, there's some cool little funky bits to this one. And I thought the song took off a lot better. And I like that one better than Let Go.
Yeah.
I do the funk.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the guitar work a lot on this. Definitely had nice riffage, real tight and concise. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe they sample the guitar pieces too, so they may process them a little bit. But either way, as a loop, it's always really tight and just fits in the groove. So again, it's kind of part of the groove, not necessarily the driving force.
Yeah. Next Move, is that the next song? Yes.
Yes.
Had a little electronic singing, modulation on the voice to start that one. And this one for me was okay. Didn't grab me. Nothing there that stood out as Push did.
Yeah, this gave me some throwback industrial vibes in some ways, more electronica, kind of like the soundtrack to The Matrix, and bands like Gravity Kills and God Lives Underwater, where these synths are real kind of pulsing and driving the pace of the song. It's cool. It's I wouldn't say it's a ballad, but it's certainly like the slower, kind of more somber mood of the album.
Yeah. Airhead was the next song, and to this point, this would be my favorite song on the record. I like her voice on this song. I like the message. I think, this whole kind of theme of going against the grain of what's popular and fluff and all that. But I think the lyrics were playful and fun, and they made allusions to things that we all know.
Yeah.
And I think the way she sang it, that message of her being different from these things came across clearly. I really like that song. Airhead, good one.
Yeah, and this is kind of, excuse me, a stark contrast from my experiences with KMFDM in the past. It definitely has more of a single vibe to it, and it's not an insult by any means, but it's definitely Sasha trying something new. He's not afraid to experiment, and that's not a bad thing at all. And I think that it's really interesting that he went with a real simple formula. He wrote a real effective song, and I'm sure it was a collaborative experience with his group members there too. But nonetheless, they pulled something off that I feel like I've not heard from them before, and they did so successfully.
Yeah, good one. Next up is Turn the Light On, and this one had a really cool line: "The power of the people can overturn the people in power." And this is what had a kind of a driving force behind it, because the message was empowerment to the people.
Yeah.
And I kind of dug this one. It was good.
Yeah. And the guitar is kind of a driving groove. It's got some funk chords going on in the background as well. And it just has a really good kind of upbeat drum beat to it as well. And I thought the production was really nice on this. The vocals were textured, and they cut through, and they have kind of a filtered vibe to them as well. So just really adding to the, I guess, raw nature in some ways, because when you're creating a message like that, it almost kind of has to sound like it comes from the streets a little bit, or, from a megaphone is what I'm getting at.
And I think too, it fits with industrial, especially with groups like Ministry. You expect some kind of a message about power.
Yeah.
And so you get a song like Airhead, which is not even remotely in the ballpark, but it's great. And then you get back to this and you're like, okay, we're back here now, because this is where I expect them to be.
Yeah.
So the next song is Touch. I didn't have a lot on this one musically, but another great vocal performance here. I thought there were some of the talking electronic parts with Sasha I didn't love, but there were some really strong moments of the vocal performance, especially the female singer, that I really dug, and this one has one of those.
Yeah, and that's one thing I failed to mention on some of the earlier songs too, is I feel like, sorry, I need to go back and listen to some of the more recent efforts prior to this too, but his voice processing is different than what I'm used to. Like the earlier albums, they were definitely real heavily distorted when he spoke. So they were really saturated and kind of melded into the mix. Here, they're a lot more clearer and clean and concise. And I really like the tone of it overall. It's just an interesting take to me. But again, just being an adult and a dad, sometimes things fall through the cracks, and I failed to keep up on some of these efforts from them. So I need to go and see, if that's been an evolution, or if this has been a stark contrast to the other KMFDM efforts too. But overall, I'm really pleased with hearing it. It's different to me.
Yeah, I agree. How do you pronounce the next one? Clonig?
Uh, I'll say that. Yeah, El Konig. We may have to go to IKEA to find out.
I didn't look it up, and I don't have any notes on this one. And I'm not sure why. I have notes for every song except for this one.
You couldn't find it in the warehouse when you were shopping to check out.
Dang, I got stuck on those stupid Swedish meatballs, and I never made it to that department.
That's it. It's exactly it. This is definitely an industrial song too. It's got like the kind of the general synth sounds, I call them. The horns, the strings, and stuff like that, and distorted drums and things. And it's a fun one for sure. I will say that while listening to this album, there were times where when I got busy, I didn't really listen in depth as much as I would like to have. And I think during that time, this kind of fell off for me just because of that fact. But I will have to go back and listen to this with more intent.
Yeah. Okay. When the Bell Tolls, the next song. I think this is my favorite song musically on the record. This one has the most killer bass groove that sort of swells and rolls, and it's up and down. And with that, it's got these really smooth little drum beat. It's not like the other ones you always think of like heavy pounding and we're drumming. Now this one softened up the drums a little bit to go with that bass movement that this one, I almost called it a movement because it's not like you're playing a bass. It's just this woo, like up and down that was so cool.
Yeah.
So musically, this was it for me.
Yeah, this one's really cool because kind of what you're talking about there, it's real subsonic where you're dealing with the real low frequencies of the bass. So you're not getting that high definition. And so it just kind of rumbles in the background and it gives those drums room to be softer. And they have a nice kind of a pulsing groove with them. The hats are really kind of, airy and
it feels soft.
Yeah, exactly. And those contrasts really work nice because you can really play with the mix. And then, her vocals, she's kind of speaking over it and stuff. And then she's not having to really over embellish on top of it. And it just gives you a chance to really play with the dynamics. I agreed. It's a very fun one.
And then I think smartly, wisely, however you want to say it, in this part of the album, Mundy and I talk about a lot. We get in this lull in that mid 2/3 or whatever of the record where it kind of falls apart. I think they were very wise here with Totem eggs or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
it switches gears completely. It goes super high tempo. It almost needs it with the record, so you don't get lulled into this, valley of this isn't very good. It just smacks you right back in the face. It's almost like a thrash version of industrial here. And really fast and rolling. It's good. I like this one a lot, and I think it was very smart of them to put it in this spot on the record.
I would say this is classic KMFDM in a lot of ways, because when you get into like the album Angst, particularly Drug Against War, it had a thrashing rhythm and intense guitars and things like that. It definitely gives a really consistent feel for that era. And then to that, there was actually a time, I think it was around the late 90s or the early aughts, they came out with an album called MDFMK. They were kind of rebranding themselves, and it was a different KMFDM. I couldn't speak to the full history of it, but the guitars were real choppy and chunky and sampled, kind of similar to this one too. So, maybe a callback to a little bit of what was going on then as well.
Okay. The penultimate song on the record is WW 2023. And again, they switch it up here musically. This one's all over the place. It kind of switches tempo and switches gears a few times, but then they hit me with the horns. And there's like, what a breath of fresh air on the record to add some horns to it. Get some brass going with all of that industrial, and it was really good. And for me, I wish this would have been the last.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. It definitely had kind of it could have gone in many different ways. And then it went into dub reggae, it had the nice chunky, the horns and nice low subsonic bass and just a slow groove. It was a good jam.
Yep. And that does bring us to the album closer, which is Filet, Manchego, Claret, and Blow. I don't even know how you say
bring
it.
Bring me back one, no mustard.
Exactly. And it's 49 seconds long. It starts to take off and then it just stops.
Right.
And I actually was sitting at the table and I didn't have my phone, so I couldn't see what it was going on. I was like, what? Did I just lose my headphones shut off or something? And so it failed as far as an album closer for me. It did not tidy this one up and put a bow on it and send it off.
Yeah.
I wish they would have ended with the last song.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Because it's a bummer when groups do that, and unless you're in on the joke, sometimes it is a disappointment. I don't know what the intent was with this one. I can't remember the name of the song, but there was a song on "Bloody Kisses" by Typo Negative that has this jam that goes on for a long time, and you're into it, you're kind of lost in it for a long time, and then it just stops hard. And there's nothing else. And you're like, wait, what? You know what I mean? But that was their statement, if you will. So it was you got it. This one is just kind of a quick little, it could go someplace, but all right, goodbye.
Yeah. The joke is probably in the title that we're so stupid and unilingual that we don't know what it means and didn't get the joke.
Yeah, I should have Googled it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't either. Can we have a fan out there Google it, please? It's
Yeah,
too much
please.
work for us.
Right. I can't type right now. No, I sound like a sixth grader. I'm so tired.
So the question then becomes, what is our score and will we listen again? I'm going to go first.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it about a 3.
Okay.
There were parts that I thought were really strong. Some parts I didn't enjoy, a little too clubby at times. A couple of songs that just were kind of, give or take. Will I listen again? Not as a whole record, but there are a couple that I would pull out. And I don't normally do that, but I would definitely pull out When the Bell Tolls. I'd pull out Totem E Eggs. I would pull out WW 2023 and Airhead. So those 4 I would definitely listen to again.
Yeah, no, I can get on board with that. I would add Push to that mix too, because I really like those guitar parts. But yeah, I think I'm going to give it about 3 1/4. Honestly, I will probably put this on again and listen. I definitely want to go back and revisit some of the other offerings. Of course, I can't go wrong with the earlier albums that I know and love for sure, but I'd like to kind of catch up on the discography. And in fact, after listening to last week's episode, you guys made me catch up on some Soundgarden. So,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's good to freshen up on things from time to time. So,
yeah,
I got Kim Thale kind of running through the corners of my brain. It's good stuff. I need to do that with Sasha and crew as well. But yeah, I'll give it a listen again. And much like you said, I think I'll have some particular ones I would gravitate toward more than others.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Decent. What year did they come out? Do you know?
I want to say they were probably around in late 80s, mid 80s, something like that.
Right around the same time as Ministry?
Yeah, probably in some form. When the Wax Trax movement was happening, they were grabbing up everybody they could. And I know that they had some involvement in some way, shape, or form. I just, my memory is kind of slipping, off the cuff here. I did have I still have the black box set from Wax Trax, and has several artists that were on from the early days. And KMFDM was had one track on there, as well as Excessive Force, which was a side project, and many of Al and Paul Barker's side projects from Ministry were on that compilation as well.
Awesome. And it won't be long before we do have some new Uncle Al.
Yes.
It was supposed to be out before. Something must have happened. It got pushed back. His songs are as biting as ever.
Oh, yeah.
He's an old curmudgeon, and I love it. The more angry he is, the better it is for us, I think.
Yep, exactly. Well, we'll just have to ask some friends of ours who work with a gentleman that produces and engineers Ministry and try to see if we can get some inside scoop, huh?
Yeah, that would be awesome. We'll get Uncle Al on the show. What do you think?
I would love it.
That would go so poorly.
Yeah.
And that would be the best thing ever.
Yeah, he would hang up on us quick.
So before we do get off of here, do we have any updates from the Phoenix Supernova?
Well, the updates have been, I've been kind of down and out and had a lot of stuff going on with A, vertigo, B, just work and new pup and all that stuff too. But I'm still working on a sci-fi score for a buddy of mine. We're supposed to meet this month. I'm actually voicing over a character as well. Really excited about that part, and writing the score for the episode. Phoenix Supernova, when I get a chance, I do work on some tracks. I was actually going through some of my saved sessions and pulling some of them out and writing some notes, revisiting some. So I think I've got probably about 8 or 9 to work with now, that I want to kind of expand upon idea wise, and really worked on my system and my workflow with my hardware here, so I can really work quickly, and all that good stuff. But also have been working with my other metal project, Wartime Kids, and it's kind of an angrier outlet, and having some fun with that too. So after the holidays, I took a bit of a break, but I'm ready to put the gear back on, the power button, turn it on, and let her rip again.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear some of the new music. And in fact, tonight, special treat. JPP is going to play us out.
Right on. Yep.
Are you ready?
I am. Right before I do so, I'm going to give myself a shameless plug. You can find me on Instagram at Just Plain Paul, or the Phoenix Supernova, or even at the Wartime Kids. So, or Wartime Kids without the. Feel free to stop by and say hey.
It's on Instagram as Wartime Kids?
Yes. I thought I added you.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to, get off my arse and do that.
All right. So, and you can find me everywhere because I just get around. So,
sorry, I'm a little out of tune. There we go. All righty. So this is an oldie, and you see if you can recognize it.
You really did go back into some old Cornell and Soundgarden.
Yeah.
I would sing, but I don't sound like Chris Cornell.
Yeah. Well, that's Kurt Cobain anyway. So.
Oh, what the heck am I doing? Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah. No, you're good.
Yeah.
Same era.
Yeah. That's off of the third record, actually.
Yeah. The Heart-Shaped Box. Yep.
Heart-Shaped Box. Yep.
Yeah. There was a guy I saw on YouTube doing a baritone cover. In fact, okay. Well, my pedal's not. Oh, there we go. It sounds better lower. Just nice, real brooding tone stuff. Yeah. So I definitely been kind of picking my finger style back up a little bit too. And I try to stay diverse when I can.
So what got you clicking back into Nirvana?
Well, watching him play that, and actually the Conan O'Brien podcast, he had Chris Novoselic, Dave Grohl, Steve Albini on there as well. And I can't remember. I think Pat was there in the interview too. They were just talking about, making that record and being out in the boonies and prank calling Gene Simmons and countless others and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool to hear the backstory of an album. It's like you hear the record, you feel the magic, but just the goofy day-to-day things that influenced it in some weird way is always equally fascinating to me, because it's like you got to live life to create the byproduct. Yeah,
no, that's awesome. And Chris Novoselic was on Getty's bass show.
Oh, nice. I need to catch that. It's on Paramount, I think, right?
Yeah, he is an interesting dude.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. You'll be shocked when you see where he lives and what he does. It's awesome.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah. Well, I'll have to take over the TV one night and watch it.
Yeah. There you go. All right. You got anything else for us tonight?
Thanks for having me on. Good to see everybody. I'll try to come up with some free time and pop back on again. And hopefully I can bust Mundy's chops next time.
Yeah, you are welcome anytime. And as another special presentation to Mr. JPP, we're going to hit you on the outro with a little Juno 19. Until next week, we should be back Sunday at 7, our regularly scheduled time, with another album review and a challenge. So please come back and check us out then. If you missed it tonight, you can check it out on my Twitter page at Foggy's Pal. You can see us on the Wanderings of Wool Gathering YouTube page. You can also find it on the Wanderings Facebook page. So there's no excuse for you not to see this episode.
None.
Except for if you didn't hear about it, then I could maybe let you go this time. Don't let it be a habit.
Right.
All right. Juno 19. Bye, everybody.
See y'all.